Whether you're starting your day with that first cup of coffee or catching up on the drive home, you're in for a story that'll completely change how you think about automotive marketing. I'm Steve, and I'm here with Claire, and we're both part of the Auto Agentic team. Auto Intelligence is produced by Auto Agentic AI, and we drop new episodes every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with the insights that matter most in our rapidly evolving industry.
And Steve, before we dive in, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening. Our audience keeps growing, and we're genuinely excited to share these stories with you. We also want to give a special shout out to Heather Renner for suggesting today's topic concept. If you're not already following her, check out her Instagram at instagram.com/Heather Renner.
Thanks, Heather. Today's episode is about one of the most revolutionary marketing campaigns in automotive history. And it happened when most companies were terrified to even acknowledge certain customer segments existed.
That's right. We're talking about how Subaru went from a struggling automaker in the early 90s to earning the affectionate nickname Lesbaru, and how they did it by being brave enough to authentically engage with lesbian customers when the rest of the industry wouldn't dare.
The story starts with a company in crisis. By the early 1990s, Subaru of America was hemorrhaging sales. Their attempts to compete head-to-head with Toyota, Ford, and Honda had failed spectacularly. They'd even tried creating a luxury sports car and hired trendy ad agencies, but it backfired.
Oh, the ads were terrible. There was this one campaign that asked consumers about a car's 140 mile per hour top speed, then questioned, how important is that with extended urban gridlock, gas at $1.38 a gallon, and highways full of patrolmen? Like, who thought that was compelling?
Right? So, facing this reality, Subaru executives made a strategic pivot that would change everything. Instead of fighting the automotive giants over the same demographic, white 18 to 35-year-olds in the suburbs, they decided to focus on niche marketing. Tim Bennett, who was Subaru's director of advertising at the time, said that was and still is a unique approach. I'm always amazed that no one copied it.
And here's where it gets interesting. Subaru's unique selling proposition was making all-wheel drive standard across their entire lineup. So when they went looking for people willing to pay a premium for this feature, they identified 4 core groups that were responsible for half their American sales: teachers, healthcare professionals, IT professionals, and what they called rugged individualists, basically outdoorsy types.
But then they found something unexpected. Bennett explained it this way: when we did the research, we found pockets of the country like Northampton, Massachusetts, and Portland, Oregon, where the head of the household would be a single person, and often a woman. When Subaru marketers talked to these customers, they realized these women buying Subarus were lesbian.
The data was striking. Lesbians were 4 times more likely than the average consumer to buy a Subaru. This wasn't just a statistical anomaly. It was a significant untapped market segment that had organically gravitated toward the brand.
Now, to understand how revolutionary Subaru's response was, you have to remember the cultural context. The mid-90s were one of the most hostile periods in American history for LGBTQ+ visibility. Paul Pugh, who worked at a gay marketing specialist agency called Mulry & Nash, said the attitude of most businesses was, why would you do something like that? You'd be known as a gay company.
The environment was brutal. Clinton had just signed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. When IKEA aired one of the first major campaigns showing a gay couple, someone called in a bomb threat to an IKEA store. Ellen DeGeneres wouldn't come out until 1997, and when she did, companies withdrew their advertising from her show.
Pooh recalled that all the rules of marketing went out the window at this fear of marketing to gays and lesbians. People would choke up on the phone. It was tough. So Subaru's decision to actively court lesbian customers wasn't just unusual, it was revolutionary.
And it required extensive internal education. Bennett, who was gay but wasn't out at work, had to pitch this to management. He recalls company meetings with names like "Who are gays and lesbians?" The pitch to Japanese executives was particularly interesting. When they looked up gay in their dictionaries and read the definition as happy or joyous, they nodded enthusiastically. Who wouldn't want happy advertising?
The strategy they developed was brilliant. Understanding their lesbian customer base was crucial. Focus groups revealed that lesbian Subaru owners appreciated that the cars were good for outdoor trips, good for hauling stuff without being as large as a truck or SUV. They felt the cars fit them and weren't too flashy.
There was even a deeper connection. The name Subaru is Japanese for the Pleiades constellation, but in English, that same constellation is known as the Seven Sisters, the same name as a group of American women's colleges. The alignment of feeling was remarkable.
To execute the campaign, Subaru hired Maureen Nash. John Nash, the creative director, later said these women were practically commercials for Subaru. But here's the thing, their initial approach failed. They hired women to portray lesbian couples in ads, but lesbian audiences didn't react well. What worked instead were winks and nudges.
This is where the genius of gay, vague advertising came in. They created subtle references that lesbian audiences could decode while remaining invisible to straight consumers. License plates reading Xena LVR, a reference to Xena, Warrior Princess, or P-Town for Provincetown, Massachusetts, a popular LGBT vacation spot.
The slogans were perfect double entendres. Get out. And stay out could mean exploring outdoors in a Subaru or coming out as gay. It's not a choice. It's the way we're built could refer to all Subarus having all-wheel drive or LGBT identity.
Nash explained that playful coding is really appreciated by our consumers. They like deciphering it. Research confirmed that queer audiences actually enjoyed decoding Subaru's messaging. It was inclusive and effective, attracted the target group without alienating other consumers.
But here's what made Subaru different from other companies that might have just done clever advertising. Their commitment extended far beyond marketing copy. They understood that authentic engagement required substantive support for the LGBTQ+ community.
In 1995, Subaru became a founding sponsor of the Rainbow Card, an affinity credit card that donated to gay and lesbian causes instead of offering cash back. Through this sponsorship, along with companies like Visa and British Airways, they contributed millions to HIV/AIDS research and LGBT causes.
They also hired Martina Navratilova as a spokesperson, which was huge. She'd been publicly outed against her will and had said gay athletes had to hide in the closet to sell themselves to Madison Avenue. For her to become the face of a car company because she was openly gay was what Rainbow Card co-creator Pam Derderian called a beautiful full-circle moment.
Navratilova later reflected, "If I had kept quiet about it, I would have had ads a long time ago. That's a fact. All most other advertisers could see was the fact that I'm a lesbian. Subaru doesn't care. They see me as all I am."
And crucially, they made internal changes. Bennett led efforts to secure same-sex domestic partnership benefits within the company. His thinking was, I can't go marketing to gays and lesbians, but then internally, my policies don't work, or my policies don't acknowledge that we have gay or lesbian employees.
You're listening to Auto Intelligence, brought to you by Auto Agentic,
the platform transforming automotive retail with intelligent, human-centered AI. What's fascinating about Subaru's approach is how it mirrors what we see in successful AI implementations today. It's not just about the technology or the marketing message, it's about authentic alignment between what you say externally and how you operate internally.
Exactly. And just like how AI adoption succeeds when it empowers rather than replaces human teams, Subaru's campaign worked because it empowered their lesbian customers to feel seen and valued rather than just targeted. Now, back to the results.
The impact was immediate and sustained. Despite fears about conservative backlash, Subaru's research showed most people threatening boycotts had never bought a Subaru anyway. Between 1993 and 2004, Subaru more than doubled their sales.
The effectiveness was measurable. Subaru partnered with 40 to 50 organizations that offered car discounts. And Bennett says every year, the LGBT organizations were in the top 5 in terms of cars sold. By 2000, readers of The Advocate and Out magazines were 1.5 times more likely to buy a Subaru than other brands.
After Subaru doubled their advertising efforts, 2002 research showed readers were now nearly 3 times more likely to purchase a Subaru. The cultural impact was equally significant. The car earned the nickname Lesbaru, becoming part of Saturday Night Live sketches and self-deprecating jokes within the lesbian community.
What's often forgotten is that Subaru cultivated this image at a time when few companies would embrace or even acknowledge their gay customers. It pushed gay and lesbian advertising from the fringes to the mainstream.
The lessons here are profound for today's automotive marketers. First, authentic engagement requires more than surface-level advertising. It demands sustained community support and internal alignment with external messaging. You can't just put rainbow logos on your cars during Pride Month and call it diversity marketing.
Second, marginalized communities often appreciate subtle recognition over heavy-handed approaches. They value inclusion that doesn't exploit their identities for mainstream consumption. The gay vague approach wasn't about hiding. It was about respecting the intelligence and community knowledge of their audience.
Third, pioneering efforts in inclusive marketing can create competitive advantages that persist long after the initial campaigns end. Nearly 30 years later, in focus groups and online polls, gay and lesbian customers still consistently choose Subaru as their favorite brand.
It's worth noting how other automotive companies have handled LGBT marketing since then. Ford had a complicated relationship. They partnered with gay and lesbian communities for over a decade, but got caught between the Conservative American Family Association and LGBT groups in 2005 to 2006 when they tried to appease both sides.
Toyota emerged as another success story, airing their first gay-themed ad in Australia in 1990 and maintaining consistent outreach since. They even aired a gay-themed Super Bowl commercial in 2012. BMW faced criticism for advertising in gay magazines while not offering domestic partner benefits to employees, highlighting the importance of internal alignment.
The landscape has obviously evolved significantly. The 2015 Supreme Court marriage equality decision made rainbow marketing more mainstream. But recent controversies show ongoing challenges. Ford's 2022 Very Gay Raptor campaign generated both praise for standing up against discrimination and criticism for potentially frivolous treatment of serious issues.
What makes Subaru's approach still relevant is how they focused on seeing customers as complete human beings rather than demographic segments. They built relationships based on genuine respect rather than profit alone. Tim Bennett's philosophy was speaking to people for who they are, not what they are.
As Bennett explained, when you talk to somebody about the who, it's a very different proposition than the what, which is really just the demographics people use, which is really lazy, quite frankly. That insight applies far beyond LGBT marketing. It's about authentic human connection in all customer relationships.
In our AI-driven world, this becomes even more important. We have more data than ever about customer demographics and behaviors, but the companies that succeed are the ones that use that data to create more human, more authentic connections, not just more targeted ads.
So what's your biggest takeaway from this story, Steve?
Honestly, it's the courage factor. Subaru made this decision when it was genuinely risky, when they could have faced real backlash. They didn't wait for it to be safe or profitable. They did it because they saw an opportunity to serve customers who weren't being served well by anyone else.
That's exactly right. And it paid off not just in sales, but in creating one of the most loyal customer bases in automotive history. The Lesbaru phenomenon isn't just a marketing success story. It's a testament to what happens when companies have the courage to stand for something meaningful.
It also shows that niche marketing, when done authentically, can be incredibly powerful. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, Subaru found specific communities where they could create real value and deep connections.
Well, here's what struck me most personally about this story. In an era when many companies struggle to navigate diverse market demands authentically, Subaru's approach from 3 decades ago remains remarkably relevant. They showed that taking a stand for marginalized communities, even in hostile environments, can be both morally right and financially sound.
The Lesbaru phenomenon stands as proof that when you truly see and serve your customers as complete human beings, they'll reward that authenticity with loyalty that goes far beyond any single purchase decision. In our industry, where we're constantly chasing the next innovation or market trend, sometimes the most powerful strategy is simply having the courage to do what's right. Thanks for joining us today on Auto Intelligence. This episode was produced by the team at AutoAgentic. Learn more at autoagentic.ai. We'd also like to thank our producer, Barry Hillier, co-founder and CEO of AutoAgentic AI, for making these conversations possible. If you'd like to reach out with suggestions for future topics or share your thoughts on today's discussion, email us at barry@autoagentic.ai. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in automotive.